Let's cut to the chase. If your calendar looks more like a maybe I'll do this list or there's nothing on it, and it is not an actual strategy and structure to your life, even though we are flexible in this industry, it is still structured. Or if you are still doing that, when are you free? Back and forth in the DMs for every single call, you're not just wasting time, you are also leaking income. So this one tweak in my business has saved me hours a week and made me feel like an actual CEO and that I'm actually in control of my time, my business, and everything flows from that. So let's talk about the biggest calendar mistakes that social sellers make and exactly how to fix it today. Hi friends, I'm AJ Yates. I am a mom of 2 toddlers. I am a multiple 7-figure earner in the social selling space and a proud systems nerd. And if there's one thing that I've learned after almost a decade in this industry is that if you do not own your calendar, it will own you. So today we're talking about the one mindset shift that will change how you use your calendar for forever. Why Calendly is my secret weapon, how to sync life, business, and your why into one visual flow, and how I have used this system through every single season, from being a newlywed to full-time job, babies, burnout, rebuilding, you name it, I have used it all. So here's the truth. Your calendar should not be your to-do list. It is a decision-making tool and a structure to your entire life. And that is the game changer that I experienced in my business. I used to jot down like random tasks and I would hope they would fit in. And I would send messages saying, are you free here? What about now? All of those kind of things. But all of that in your business will not help you scale. Setting up the system and simplifying it will help you scale. So today, my calendar tells me what matters most and when it is happening. So when you block an income producing activity, family time, content creation, white space, and you stop just winging your business, winging life, winging your schedule, and you will start actually scaling a 6, 7, 8-figure business. So quick reminder, if you are loving this kind of content, that is what this channel is for. But if you want even deeper behind the scenes, tools, templates, all of the things that I do on the back end, my brain, hop over to the description of this video and sign up for my newsletter. That is where I share everything that I am testing, using, and loving in real time. It's free and it is gold. So what does this system look like in real life? So every Sunday or Monday, depending if I'm traveling or what I have going on, I sit down and I look at my calendar for the week. I look at what calls I have, what, different kinds of calls I have. If it's a one-on-one, if it is a dual live on social, whatever it is. I also have my zone of genius time blocked. So and we'll talk about more of that in a minute. But during this time, I look and I see what I need to do during those zone of genius times based on the season of my business or what I have going on or what my goals are in that season. And then I plan my content creation or also around what's on my calendar. So let's say there's a product launch or there's a corporate opportunity call or there's something going on or I have a conference coming up, a speaking gig, something. I plan my content around my calendar, around what's going on, and everything is right there in front of me. I also, marriage hack, business hack, life hack. I sync my calendar with my husband's so he knows what I'm doing before I even say it out loud or it even happens, right? So that has been a game changer in our business and we're not doing a lot of back and forth of what we have for the day. Now that we have 2 toddlers, this is so important because he knows when mom is busy, when mom is available, and then I don't get calls during my other calls because he's on my favorites list, which means he, bypasses do not disturb. So he knows what I have going on, and there's not a lack of back and forth. We still communicate about like our overview for the week, but syncing our calendars has been a game changer. Life, business, marriage, all the things, trust me. So if you take nothing away from this video other than this one thing, I'll have done my job. Block your why first. So I have, speaking of my husband, I have Friday date night blocked, right? I have time with my kids blocked. If it's not on my calendar, then it's not a commitment. And those things are my biggest commitment in life. So I have those first. I have my why time, as I like to call it. And so that is what my baseline for my week, and then everything else is built around it. So here's the mistake that most social sellers make. You are going back and forth. You're scheduling your calls and your DMs, and you're like, how's Thursday? Oh, I can't do that. What about Friday? And then you're ghosted. And the reason why, and it's not because people aren't interested. So you have to, in a sales process, in a sign up process, and in a leadership process, you have to remove any friction in your systems, right? Because friction kills momentum. And so if there's all of this back and forth and people are like, I don't know about this, what about this? It will kill your momentum. So what is the solution? Calendly. So there are a lot of other systems out there that are similar to it, especially now with like AI and things, but all of the features that have been built over the years in Calendly, I'm so loyal to it because it's like saved my time, life management, all of that kind of stuff. But they're also always improving it. I'll talk more about like the back end flows of things in a little bit. But I use Calendly for different segments of calls, different categories in my business. So for example, I have launch calls. I have three-way team calls. If anybody in my front line or second line are, doing a potential call with like a three-way, I have that on there so that there's also, I'll talk about this in a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself, but there's also a question in there that says, tell me more information about this person that we're getting on the phone with. So I can go into the call and know, like, I don't want to talk about finances if they're just here for the community and the travel and a good time, right? Or vice versa. So all of that is within my three-way calls. I have coaching calls, any dual lives. I have, let's say that I'm doing a daily training that I want leaders to sign up for in a team page. I'll create something just for that so that I can set it that I only want it to between 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, and I'm only scheduling one a day. So I have that set up that it's within those parameters so that they can only do that. And I'll talk about the automations and stuff in a minute, but anything that would normally take, 12 different messages to schedule, I use it for. Let's take that one thing as an example. If I'm trying to schedule out leaders going live in our team page or whatever we have going on, think about all the back and forth of me saying, okay, so Thursday the 14th is open at this, it's all of the back and forth, and you're cutting all of that time out. You're setting it so there's one a day so people aren't overlapping each other. And then it's just, you send the link. I would love for you to sign up for this. Send the link, right? You edify them by saying, I would love for you to share your skills, talent, knowledge with our team. Here's the link to sign up, and it gives them the available times in that frame, blocks off any days that other people have already scheduled on that day, and it's golden. It's golden. All right. So now is when I was supposed to go into the fact that each event type is customized. But I want to dive a little deeper in this because some of these categories and why I have multiple calendar links is that some are urgent. So let's talk about like new partner calls and launch calls. So new partners can only launch within the next 5 days, or they can only schedule a launch call with me within the next 5 days. I don't want them joining on a Monday and then scheduling a call 3 Thursdays from now, or even a Thursday from now, right? Like I want to get on the phone with them as soon as possible when they're in that excited phase. And even then I kind of look at my systems, and I always analyze your system, always audit it. I kind of want to change it to, 72 hours or, so that I'm getting on the phone with them as soon as possible. But the reason why I have it set to 5 days is, what if they join on a Friday at 4 p.m. and I have it blocked off, Saturday, Sunday, because family time. And then Monday I'm completely booked. Like, I want to give them some availability. But I have each of them customized. I also have, them customized where it's like, let's take the live trainings, for example. It asks, what's your topic? Like, and I'll put on there, like, this is going to be publicly posted. What is your topic? Like, whatever you type in is going to be publicly posted. So they go in, they schedule that they're doing a live training on time management, and it's Sally Jones. And so then the second that they do that, it's also synced with our calendar so that all of our people who are connected, which we're talking about in a minute, to their calendars, they see on their calendar. I didn't have to do anything. It shows up on their Google Calendar. There is a training about time management from Sally Jones at 4 p.m. Eastern on the 27th. Like, done. Think about all the time I just saved in my life. I know I'm a nerd. I know I love systems. I know of all of that. But like, if I just want to shake some people and be like, set this stuff up, you're saving so much time by just setting this up, doing it once, and then it's done for forever. Okay. So back to that. So a few are more open-ended, like content brainstorming or coffee chats or all of that kind of stuff. Some are open-ended because they can, schedule them 30 days from now if they want. But the cool thing is I also have it set up where I have, if it's a launch call, if it's a, whatever requires a Zoom, that it automatically creates that Zoom link and it sends that to them via email, text, all the reminders, all of that. Maybe it's a 3-way call, which I like doing on the phone. So then it's just going to ask for phone numbers. Or let's say it is a dual live. I have that set up that it asks for their Facebook information and all of that, but it's not going to send them a Zoom link or a phone number because it's a Facebook Live. You see, so I have them customized to what kind of call it is. All right, so I do not send reminders. I do not send Zoom links. I don't guest my availability. All of that stuff is automated. And as you scale, you could be making $400 a month now. You could have 30 people on your team. But what happens when you have 30,000 people on your team? What happens when you're making $50,000 a month? You don't need to be the personal assistant that's figuring all this stuff out. You need to set up the automations. That will help you save so much time. Can you tell I'm passionate about this? Because I want to fix everybody's calendars in this industry, social selling in general. You might be watching this may not be in the social selling network marketing space. Maybe it's you are talking with brands, right? And you're you're always scheduling calls for that or whatever it is. Maybe you're a makeup artist or whatever you sell online, whatever you do, and you can set up Calendly. And so then you can and it looks very professional. If you send a brand a link and it's like, here's my availability, book with me, you're done, right? You just send the link, they pick the time, and we're done. I also have multiple synced calendars. So I have my work calendar, which is me, right? It's my calls, it's things that I'm showing up for. And then I have a team calendar. And so I actually have my VA go into our corporate back office and add every, team our corporate call to our team calendar so that they can subscribe to our team calendar and everything's on there. They are not messaging me asking for Zoom links. I don't have any of that happen because they can go look at the calendar, look at the description, and the Zoom link is there. And it automatically, does it based on their time zone. So I'm not manually sending invites. I'm not manually sending anything. And I don't have people that don't show up for calls with me because they're getting email, they're getting text messages, they're getting all these reminders that are set up. And so they might, and if they need to reschedule, they got a text message that reminded them of the call. And it says, if you need to reschedule, here's the link. And then they just reschedule and it takes them to my calendar. And then they find the next available time that matches with their availability and what I have going on. And we didn't even talk about it. thing. We didn't even talk about it. I want my time spent on income producing activities, and going back and forth about when you're available is not an income producing activity. Being on the phone with you, talking about how I can change your life and business, and I can, help you with whatever your goals are in life, that is an income producing activity. All of the other stuff is not. So if you've seen any of my other videos, I say act as if you are making $1 million. And if you're making $1 million, you need these things set up. So set them up now and the money will come. All right. So it is all in one system. It's visual, it's duplicatable, and building from a place of peace. I'm very passionate about that, helping people build from a place of peace. All right. So some quick pro tips. So I love color coding my categories. So when I look at my calendar, I can see everything in purple. I don't know why I chose purple, but everything in purple is my team. Any zone of genius I have in green. And then I have blue which I should change to red because my husband is such an NC State fan, but that is family time. That is why time. So I can look at my calendar and say, this is happening here and whatnot. I also have little tweaks in there that some of my calendars, let's say, for example, dual lives, anything I have to be forward facing and it's not like behind the scenes on a Zoom, on a phone call. I have that a certain color so I can look at my calendar for the week. Because remember, Sunday, Monday, we're looking at our calendar and we're seeing what we have coming up. And I will actually look at it and say, okay, that color is popped up. So that means that I'm doing a forward-facing, public-facing video, which means I need to be presentable. I need to have at least some makeup on. I don't need to just like roll out of bed for this. So that would be a good day to film some content. That would be a good day to do some YouTube videos. That would be a good day to do something, right? And so then I look at all of that, it's color coded, and then I can plan accordingly. Another tip is to use time blocks, not tasks. So like I've talked about, I love my zone of genius time on my calendar. It doesn't say we're doing this, this, and this. It says zone of genius time during these times throughout the week. Within that time, I have a system in my life and brain and all of that. I have a video on that if you want to watch it, about how I time block and how I brain dump everything I need to do. I circle my, non-negotiables and my needle movers in my business, and I pick 3. What are my top 3 money-making, needle-moving tasks that I need to do? And I do those first. That would be in that, right? So time blocking and your calendar should not be like to do. It should be like, here's the category that I'm working on, whether it's, systems, behind the scene team stuff, or it's creating content, all of that. And then you can set up your day accordingly and you know where you're walking into every single day. All right. The next thing is setting up reoccurring events so that you're not rebuilding every week, right? Like the Zone of Genius, for example, is a reoccurring event Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 12:30 every single week, no matter what. And then on that note, protect your zone of genius time. So during that time, I have it. If you sync your Google Calendar to Calendly, you can have Calendly read your Google Calendar. So in my Google Calendar, I have zone of genius time, right? And then I make sure, because there's an available or busy option, I make sure it says busy. So that means that on my calendar, any of these things I'm talking about, right? No one can book me during that time because it is busy, is my zone of genius. But because I have different custom events, things like live trainings on our team page, I have it so that it doesn't read that calendar, because it doesn't matter. Like someone on my team can go live during that time. I'm in my zone of genius. Maybe I'm not on live, but later I'll go and I'll comment. I'll share it, all the things, right? So that's the power of this calendar. I have a video that breaks down the back end of this, where it's actually how to set up all of these different categories, how to add questions in, how to set up the emails, how to set up the text messages and all of that. So if you want to watch that video, you can see that. I'll put in the description, but I'll also put it at the end so you can click on that and watch that next. So when we're talking about time blocking, You might be at the place in business, which I was when I was first building the first few years in the social selling industry, that you only have 30 minutes a day, which is your focus time, right? Or maybe 30 minutes in the morning, an hour at night. And you might not have the ability yet to block off 9 to 12 for your zone of genius. I say act as if, show up as if, because that means the time that you have available, use that in a systematic approach, that you're not just sitting down, you're like, oh, I'm working, I'm over here scrolling my phone, all of that. You're not doing any of that, right? You're sitting down because you've planned your week, you've planned your calendar, you own your schedule, and you know what to do during that time. Seasons will change for you. When I was first building, I was working full time. So I started using Calendly very intentionally, like 10 years ago, probably 9 years ago. And I would, in the morning, so I had a 50-minute commute to work. And so during that time was all about learning and personal development. I would listen to podcasts, training. I was a student of the industry. I didn't just want to like do whatever, my uplines were telling me or what all of that stuff. I wanted to learn the industry. So on my way, it was all learning. Like I said, personal development, like all of that kind of stuff. If you look at in that era of time, my YouTube history, they're all watched because anything with the industry, I watched it. Then I, went to work. So obviously during my work time, I wasn't taking calls. I wasn't doing any of this kind of stuff. But then I had a 50-minute commute home. So I started using Calendly so that block of time was open every day for people to book me. They could book me for 3-way calls. They could book me for one-on-one calls. They could book me for whatever, launch calls. I loved taking that time of my day to say, this is the availability I have for you. So then I would just send a link, let's picture this. I'm at work. I was in marketing. I'm at a marketing meeting talking to a radio advertiser or newspaper back in the day. Is that crazy? I'm aging myself. And someone messages me and is, saying that they want to schedule a call with me, or someone joined and I'm like, all right, let's get on the phone for a launch call. Instead of me saying like, hey, are you free today at 5 p.m. to what, like I could just, and then figure out time zones. I just sent them my Calendly and they saw all of my availability. They saw that I was available then. And then like the time that I would get home, I would have like Y time, right? I was a newlywed and into my first few years of marriage. So I would block off that time. I knew what time my husband went to bed every night. And then I was in a build phase. So I would open up my calendar after that time so that people could book late calls with me. And so, which was fine because I was building with people in California where it might be 9 o'clock my time, but it's 6 o'clock their time, right? But being able to send that Calendly link and not have that back and forth while I'm in the middle of an advertising meeting looking at, marketing results on, digital advertising, did a lot of that back in the day. I could just like real quick, let's see my Calendly link. Okay, what were you saying? So it helps so much. So even if you're not at the place, you might be watching this and you're like, that sounds great that you have all of this, but I don't have that yet. You want that one day. You want to be able to work from 9 to 12. And I'm also at the level where I have hundreds of thousands of people in my, organization, and I have customers and all of that. And I'm in a kind of different place where I was able to stop that work and completely go all in on this industry. And that might be your goal. But what you're doing now in your gaps of time, setting these things up now, one, it makes you look really professional whenever you're sending a link to someone and it's synced to your calendar. That is like an automatic signal to people that you are next level. You are professional. You treat this like a business. This isn't a side gig for you, and you can help them. So if you set that up during your phase of life that you're in now, knowing that you're going to scale so big in your business, and then that's already set up, there's going to be a day that you're going to be able to open your calendar to so many different times because this is now your full-time thing, if that's what you want, right? So that's my point here is that you might be listening to this and be like, oh, I don't need this because I'm only working, 30 minutes here, an hour here, but act as if. Set up systems now so you can scale your business, okay? So are you ready to implement? That's my favorite part, is the implementation. All right. So here is your action plan. So step 1 is to set up Google Calendar if you have not already. I eat, sleep, breathe my Google Calendar. Anybody that knows me, I live by my Google Calendar. Even like with some of my friends that it's like, we're getting together for a girls' night. I'm not going to send them a Calendly link. I'll just send them a screenshot of my Google Calendar so that they can see what nights I'm available. But set that up now. Now. Everything and the people in business that I have helped implement this strategy, they credit me to this day, even 7-8 years later, because they were just either working off of a paper, pen, whatever, or they didn't have anything. Set that up now, please. And I love paper and pen. Like I created this planner. If you don't know what this is, I created this. But this is for creating a daily checklist and physically checking things off that you then look at the technology for. This is just more of the daily, brain dump, sit down, write whatever, circle what you need to do, and then add it to your digital calendar, if that makes sense. All right. So step 1 is to set up your Google Calendar if you haven't already. Step 2 is to create your first Calendly event, even if it's just one. I know to unlock multiple ones, you still have to start paying and all of that. So right now we're just setting up one. If you have that 30 minutes of time, do it. It's free. Set up that one. Step 3, I want you to block off your zone of genius time this week. When can you block on your calendar that people can't schedule you? You're not at work, you're not with your kids, you're not with your husband, your wife, whatever. That is your zone of genius. That is the time that you're going to be doing the needle movers in your business. Block that off, okay? So then my next one for you is I want you to share your calendar link with a teammate or a potential lead, and I want you to feel the stress just melt away. And then you get a notification, so-and-so booked you at so-and-so time. And you're like, I love this. And then you can click on the description and it says what they want to talk about on your coaching call. It says who the potential is that you're meeting with. It says whatever the topic is. And you didn't have to do anything but send them a link. So I have linked my favorite resources in the description below. So I have linked my Calendly link. I'll send you to that. I also have a video that you can watch, is an actual screen recording of my Calendly setup. And then also a video where I talk about my CEO hour routine where I plan my whole week. So you can go to that one as well. And if you want me to do some sort of video where I am taking someone's life and turning it into a calendar, I would love to do that. Maybe you want to volunteer for that, because I will do that for you. I will help you walk through all of that together. But if you want to do that, put that in the comments so I know that is something that you would be interested in watching, and we'll set that up. I'll film it and all of that. So if this is helpful, please hit like and subscribe for more system-packed content for social sellers. If you are in the network marketing direct sales space, take this link, share it with your team, because can you imagine if all of your team was duplicating things like this and they had those intentional conversations, they were saving time. Even if they saved 20 minutes a week of the back and forth, and they put that 20 minutes a week into connecting with people, where would your business be? And then you times that by everybody on your team, right? So you, my friend, do not need more hustle. You need better systems. And you know what? You've got this. And I've got you, and I will see you on the next one.